What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I sat down with a former mechanical engineer who left his W-2 job not once but twice to get into the real estate game, where he is now doing it big with a model that is based on co-living. It allows him to get more than double the revenue he would on most single family home rentals, and he's getting thousands of dollars a door per month, not just 100 or 200. Welcome to the show, Fernando Corona. Welcome to the show today, Fernando. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's a morning over here, Friday morning, and it's doing well.
Awesome. Well, you're over on the West Coast, but you invest everywhere out of state. So I think that's something I'm excited to talk about to our listeners and viewers today. Because a lot of people, I think, are afraid to do that, or maybe they just have never done it before. So you obviously can add some great insights to that. Before we jump into that and the other cool things you're going to teach our audience about today, why don't you give folks a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so believe it or not, my background's actually in mechanical engineering. That's what I got my degree in.
Ooh, Mech-E, huh?
Yeah, Mech-E. And so I did the whole thing, checked all the boxes. I worked with companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and traveled, did some stuff for engineering. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to live. I think I looked at my directors' lives or my CEO's lives, and I said, do I want that lifestyle? And my answer is no. I didn't want that lifestyle. So I said, okay, well then what lifestyle do I want? And so I just started writing down what lifestyle I wanted. And so that's how I got into entrepreneurship. From there, I started a few different businesses. Now obviously building up my real estate portfolio, building up cash flow. So that's kind of what the whole background and how we got to here.
So what was it like when you made that jump, when you left the corporate
when I left the corporate job?
Was it kind of like, catching, like how a surfer might feel when that moment when they catch the wave and there's just something cooler going on, or how did it feel?
Oh, shit. So, in my background, my parents came from Mexico. So they came here seeking out, their parents came here seeking out the American dream. And so I think my parents did a good job of building up that American dream for us, for my brother and I. And so we went to school, got a 4-year degree, got a mechanical engineering job, got a good job out of college. So life was good. And then I called my dad up and I'm like, hey dad, thinking about, how you worked your whole life so that I could have a better life and everything. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm quitting my job. And he was like, what are you doing? And I said, no, I personally believe that I have a kid. So parents' job right now is to create opportunities that we didn't have. And I think my dad did that. And he would have never thought that I would have quit my job to go live in Thailand for a month and then go work at a hostel in Barcelona for a few months, and just travel the world, because that opportunity wasn't given to him. And then now that it was given to people in the US who could actually do that, I took it. And so that was the first time I quit. I ended up quitting 2 different W-2 jobs because it's a little bit of a process, right? Leaving a structured income to kind of go and build your own is not easy, and sometimes you have to go back and then jump back in and stuff. It's all good.
What do you think gave you the ability to finally do it for good? That second time you quit,
Yeah.
full-blown
So I just got
real
a
estate.
promotion.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I just got a promotion. They transferred me to a new division that they were opening up, and they said, hey, Fernando, you with this director and this VP of technology, we want you guys to start up a new division. And it was awesome. I did it for a year, and it was just throughout that year, I realized that I was building somebody else's dream. and I got a salary. I was happy with the salary and everything, but I didn't have a bonus. I didn't have an equity plan. I didn't have stock options. Like there wasn't all these things that the higher ups got because I was just young, and it wasn't anything. Their policy was not anything like offered to me because I didn't hold these like higher level positions, and I wouldn't have held those higher level positions for years. So I just asked myself, I felt that pain of, man, I don't like this feeling of like not having control of my income. I don't like the feeling of not having control of my hours. I felt enough of that pain that said that the pain of me going on my own is less than the pain I'm feeling now, and so that's what happened. And I'm sure that's probably what happens with others. They get to a point where they're saying that it's more risky to stay than it is for me to leave. Because in 5 years from now, I left when I was 27. 5 years from now, I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have whatever. Would I have rather spent those 5 years building something that I can actually own or just building out somebody else's company?
What does your real estate strategy look like now? High level overview.
Yeah. So when we first started in real estate, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners here that get told maybe it's like $100 per door. You want to do $100 per door or $300 per door. And for us, like we're not made of like crazy money, especially since I didn't even have a job. So we just wanted to think of a strategy that could get us $1,000 per door, right? Like instead of having 10 properties that could cash flow $1,000, like we just wanted one property that can cash flow $1,000. So we kept looking, and what we found were that in the East Coast, like in Tennessee or in Georgia, there are homes that have basements, or they have split levels, or they have like it's kind of like 2 stories, but not really. It's not classified as 2 stories on Zillow or like on the tax records. And they were converting these bottom units or these bottom basements into additional units. So now they would basically turn a single family home into a 2 units, or they were renting by the room. So for us, that's what we did.
Like the co-living
Yeah.
kind of arrangement. Yeah.
Co-living, and they're targeting like the labor workers, right? They're targeting the people who don't mind, sharing these communal spaces, right now, right? And they're paying, but they get
So everyone gets a bedroom, and they split the kitchen and the living room.
right. No, not even the living room. They just split the kitchen. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's the strategy. And believe it or not, last month we hit $5,700 in revenue, which is about $3,000 in net cash flow, and that was
on one door,
on one single family home that cost us $165,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like super high double-digit cash-on-cash returns.
Yeah, very high. We're talking like over 40%. And which is pretty wild to do for exactly a single family home, and it's not an Airbnb. We didn't want to get into the Airbnb space. No offense to Airbnbers out there. I think Airbnb is cool. I mean, I stay at Airbnbs. I think they're dope. It's just a different type of lifestyle that we didn't want to live, right? We didn't want to be I mean, all that stuff. There's seasonality with Airbnb. Our average tenant stay on these properties are like 10 months. So that means we only have to turn the room once every 10 months. And then the level of service, the service is like they're regular tenants. These are just people who need a place to live. It's more out of necessity than it is out of like a luxury.
So it's long-term tenant from a management operational side. Maybe the turnover is a little bit more than if it's like one family. You said 10 months, but you're getting returns on it that are consistent and maybe not quite as high as some short-term rentals, but somewhere in between that and the regular $100, $200 a door thing, and that you hear about on long-term rentals, which is to get $3,000 on one single-family door is pretty crazy. The only way I've ever heard of doing that or better is on Airbnb, and certainly not on a 100. And most people aren't getting that kind of money on like a $150,000 Airbnb.
And more
usually more luxurious. So
exactly. And we're fully decking out the place in terms of like we have to build the 8 rooms. We have to furnish.
Yeah, how does that work actually?
So
What goes into that? Like you buy a house, it's a walk us through from when you buy it to
yeah.
when the
So
tenants are in there.
this is right now we're using a company, and I'm happy to share it. It's called PadSplit, PadSplit, PadSplit. These guys are, in my opinion, like the OGs of this rent by the room model in terms of like software as a service to us. Like when Airbnb came out, like people were doing bed and breakfasts, right? And that wasn't an not normal thing to do. Just like people were renting by the room to college kids and everything. But what Airbnb did is they basically like allowed it to get to the masses. And then now everybody had a platform that they could use, like software as a service, to be able to use their home as an Airbnb. So this company, PadSplit, it's not nothing novel where people rent by the room. That's house hacking. But what this PadSplit company does is they allow a platform and they allow users to come become members on their platform. And then you bring your house up there. And then now there's like a way of payment, their background checks, like they do all that stuff for you. They collect money and then they send it to you. So all that stuff's taken care of on PadSplit. So they have requirements. This is also a way for them to protect the people that are on their members, right? We're not giving them closets as rooms. Like there's a certain amount of square footage that we have to have in a house. You can only have 4 bedrooms to 1 bathroom. And they legitimately come in after we build and they have to like check off on everything, right? Does it have AC in every room? Is there a lamp or a light in every room? Is there like a nest, like AC is working, electricity, hot water, all that stuff. So that's what we're doing. We buy the property. There's 2 ways of buying these properties. You can either buy it already fixed up in terms of like it's a nice 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and then you buy it, let's say for 230 grand. You get in there, you buy it, and then you have to build the other 4 rooms. Adjust the living room, add in the other AC vents to the rooms, put in electrical.
Yeah, how are you doing that? How do you go from 4 to 8
Yeah, so
on the bedrooms?
from
Where
4
are
to
you
8.
are you increasing the building footprint, or are you just using existing footage under roof?
So remember how I told you these are specific houses we look for that have a basement structure? So
Right.
so originally that bottom space isn't counted usually is not counted in the tax records. Like you'll see my house and
Okay.
it'll say 900 square feet, and people would be like, how do you fit 8 beds in a 900 square foot home? It's like, well, you don't. It's because the bottom floor has another 1,000 square feet. So the top floor will
Okay.
have 4 or 5 bedrooms, and the bottom floor will have 3 to 4 bedrooms. Just depends on the whole layout. And then the top floor will have a bathroom, bottom floor will have a bathroom.
Hey, hold that thought for a minute. Do you want to take your real estate business to the next level? If you do, there's no reason to go it alone. Learn from people who've been where you want to go. Carrie and I have sold billions of dollars in real estate. We've netted over 7 figures for 7 years in a row now, and we want to see if you would be a good fit to work for us. We don't work with a lot of people, but we want to give you a chance to get on a free strategy call to see if we can help you get your business to the next level. Go to hyperfastcoach.com and apply for your discovery session today. Again, that's hyperfastcoach.com.
And then the tenants are going to get a bedroom, maybe split a bath. Do they
Exactly.
get
They get
like
everything.
what kind of
all
communal
utilities.
spaces are there? Yeah, what kind of
Communal spaces they get 2 fridges, they get multiple trash cans, they get the kitchen, but that's the only space. And we do have a porch, so they can go back if they want to have a porch and all that. They got this is interesting, right? 50% of the people who stay or more in our homes don't own a car. So we're also like intentionally trying to place ourselves near bus stops, because we know that. And so there's parking on the street, obviously parking on the driveway, but we're more cognizant of trying to make sure we're near a bus stop so that they can access that.
what yeah, so then what else is that program PadSplit like? Okay, so you talked a little bit about that, a little bit about buying, getting to the 8 rooms, then what's the next step in terms of furnishing, marketing, filling those
Yeah, so
rooms?
PadSplit, the reason why, they charge 12% per month of gross revenues, and which people would say is a lot, but they do so much in terms of marketing, where within 2 weeks I had 6 rooms booked. of launch. This just happened like a month ago. We launched another property, and within 2 weeks we had 6 rooms booked, and then within the third week we had 8 rooms booked of our first launch. So that just goes to tell you that they are doing a great job with their marketing, that there is a demand out there, and they're creating that demand. And then all we have to do is like fill it with supply.
And then what kind of fees do they charge? Do they charge like a commission or a monthly fee, or how does the
PadSplit
cost
charges
work
12%. They charge a 12% like booking fee or management fee, I guess you could say, like platform fee. We'll call it a platform fee.
there? Okay.
And it's just monthly of the gross revenues. And then we have our boots on the ground property management out there, and we pay them 8%, but they're the ones that are handling all the communication with the tenants, and they handle like broken windows, whatever it is, right? They take care of that.
So your management's included, management and marketing, it really is included for you, and you're giving up 20% of gross. What kind of increase though are you, like on that specific example, what would it get if you just rented the whole house out the traditional method versus where it's at in this model?
Yeah, we'd probably make $2,500. If we rented it out, regularly, we'd save 12%. But yeah,
Right.
we get.
But then now you went from 25 to what was the
57
to 50. So you gave up 12%, but you more than doubled. So seems like a no-brainer there on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're out of state, because for us, we're just looking to scale, right, or get into more of these. And yeah, I want everybody to eat. I think there's enough on the table for everybody to eat. I even told my property manager they would charge me 5% when we first got them. When we started working with them, and I said, I think you guys are charging me too little. Like I want you guys to take more, or I want to pay for your guys' dinners, because I want them to really. There's no reason why everybody can't get a piece of the pie. Like there's enough out there.
Right. What do you think is important when you're doing this out of state? Because a lot of people are afraid of out of state, both on like becoming an expert in that market to know what to buy, and on the management standpoint. Now you talked a little bit about the management side, but then how do you go into a market that is, hundreds, thousands of miles away and become knowledgeable and, find and execute on buying a good deal? How do you do that?
It depends on the experience level for sure, but because there's 2 people that you can connect with on the ground. The real estate agents are really going to be the biggest help. That's on the front end, but not every time are you going to be buying from the MLS, right? But still, a real estate agent for me is like an advisor. Like a really good real estate agent is somebody who's going to tell you what zip codes are solid, what zip codes to stay away from. Where they see growth happening within the area. And that's exactly what we had. So we buy in Atlanta, and we found an agent who was an investor. And so that gave us massive confidence. He already owned a PadSplit. Like he owned one of these. He owned multifamilies. He had long-term rentals. Like he was in it. So he had he already knew property managers. He knew contractors. Like he knew plumbers, right? He already had his team built. So when I was looking for an out-of-state market and I was looking for a strategy, like connecting with that agent was a total game changer. And then since then, I've referred him like a ton of business to all my friends who are investing out of state. And I continue to work with him. So that's
what do you
what's up?
We get a lot of real estate agents that listen to this show, obviously a lot of real estate investors as well. But if you're a real estate agent, right, listening to this, like what would you tell that person about what they need to do and what they need to be knowledgeable about and aware of to attract out-of-state investors like yourself?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is decide who you want to work with. Do you want to work with investors? And if you want to work with investors, then you should be an investor. And because that's how you're going to know their pain points, especially so you become an investor, you test out Airbnb, you test out travel nurse, midterm rentals, or whatever, you're rent by the rooms. You start to build out your own investment portfolio. You post about it. and then you become the go-to in real estate agent for out-of-state investors, right? And you share those testimonials, because as an out-of-state investor, like I don't want to go to another agent. Like, why would I waste my time interviewing another agent? Like, I feel so comfortable and secure with the one that I have. So that's really it. But you have to decide like who you want to work with, because right, not every agent wants to work with investors or out-of-state investors. And then from there, the more experience you have, and the more knowledgeable you are, you become the advisor. You really do become the trusted advisor.
Does it matter to you? I think you kind of answered this already, but like, does it make a big difference to you if the agent personally owns the type of investment properties that you're looking for?
Not the type of investment properties so much as like they're an investor. We've entered markets where we tried. We found a really nice agent. She's super nice. She's super kind-hearted, but she's not an investor. And at first we were like, okay, well, I mean, we really like her. We like her responsiveness. Let's try working with her. But it started to become like we had to really advise her and we had to coach her. Especially
she didn't have the investor mindset.
She didn't have the investment mindset. Yeah. And so she would like bring us properties like, oh, here's this and here's this. And we're just like, okay, but and then we had to like talk numbers, right? Because that terms like cash ROI, right? Cash on cash return, like cash ROI, right? Like some of these terms that she wasn't aware of. We talk about ARV or whatever it is. There's this terminology that you pick up when you are an investor. And so as an agent, picking up that terminology you can either do it by doing it yourself or just really working with a lot of out-of-state investors. Like, why not? Why, like, as a real estate agent, you get access probably to off-market properties and you get access to the properties on the MLS. Like, why not be an investor? Why not build your own passive income portfolio?
Hey, hold that thought for a minute. Do you have a client that needs to buy or sell a home in the DMV area? Then why not trust the highest selling team in the DMV, the Carrie Scholl team? We've helped thousands of buyers and sellers and would love to help your clients. And we guarantee we will save them time, money, and stress throughout the process. And they will be so grateful that you referred them to us. Go to carriescholl.com to learn more. Again, that's carriescholl.com to learn more about sending us your clients that need to buy or sell a home in the DMV area. That's carriescholl.com.
I kind of see it as a double-edged sword, because like I want that agent to have that firsthand knowledge. Like, I don't want to have to educate them on what's important as an investor, right? But if they're doing it at a high level locally, then I'm also a little worried. Well, are they going to like send me the really good deals, or are they going to keep it for themselves, or right? So there's like kind of that concern out there too. And I'm not saying either's right or wrong, just kind of like spitballing here.
Yeah, I think that's going to come down to the mindset of abundance or the mindset of scarcity at times. But I get what you're saying, because that's how people could feel about sharing this information, right? Like, this information that I'm sharing with everybody, I'm happy to share it. But there's people like, oh my gosh, I don't want to share this because then everybody's going to do it. It's going to become overly saturated. And then now I'm not going to get the gains that I know I can get, right? That's like, like, I don't want to work with that agent anyways. Like, that's such a scarcity mindset, as opposed to the agent that says there's enough for everyone. Like, I live in a mindset of abundance. And that's up to character. That's on character, because I'm sure there are agents out there that could be like that. And then there are agents out there that are just like, nah, man, there's enough for everyone.
Yeah, so you really need someone that I think does have that investor mindset, also has the mindset of abundance. Are you still buying now? Are you guys taking a pause? Are you worried about what's going on in the market at all? We've seen transaction volume slow down, prices still going up, although not quite as much as they were 6 months ago or a year ago. But like, what's your take on where the market is now and what investors should be looking at right now?
So For us, right, just because we have that unique strategy, we're still hitting, 1,500. Like when I run my numbers, we're hitting $1,500 net cash flow, at like 6.75% interest. So you just
Yeah.
have to get creative with your financing. There are 40-year mortgages with first 10 years interest only. So if you're trying to, optimize cash flow and then sit on a property, then if you don't mind that, it's all up to people's strategy. For me, I'd rather get into properties that already cash flow right now, and then in 3 to 5 years, I can just refinance. Because for me, that if I can still hit over $1,000 of cash flow on a property, even in today's market, that's all I'm worried about. I know that in the long term, doesn't matter if it goes down 20%. Like, I'm still cash flowing what I want to cash flow today. And then if it goes, I know it's going to go back up to where it's at or over in the next 10 plus years. And so I'm not holding it to only hold for two years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, we're definitely telling people like find the great deals, and date the rate, marry the house, right?
Right.
If you get in, it's a good deal and it cash flows now. It doesn't really matter that if you were at 3 versus 6. Cash flow is cash flow, right? If you have it, great. If rates go down, you can refinance. If they go up, well, you're locked in at the lower rate.
Locked in the low rate. That's it. Yeah.
So I love that mindset.
On that too, like you never know, right? We got a HELOC on a property, and we originally got a variable rate of 3.75, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing," But we made the choice, like we're gonna lock in this rate and for us to lock in a HELOC rate, we would have had to lock it at 5%. And some people would be like, "Well, why would you do that? Why would you go from 3.75 to 5%?" Because if HELOCs are variable rates. And so if the market changes, then the rates go up. And so that's exactly what happened, because we knew the rates were starting to go up. Right now, the lowest HELOC you can get is like over 5%. And that's variable.
Yeah, because it's prime, which is 4.75 usually plus a spread. So
Exactly. Exactly. So,
and it's probably going to go up again when the next rate hike. It'll probably be close to 6. By the time this podcast goes live.
Yeah. So there is a combination of knowing, like, we made that prediction. It was some people would have seen it as a risk, like, oh, you're paying higher interest, but hey, our numbers worked. I'm very comfortable paying 5% for that HELOC because of how we're making the money work for us. I don't want to pay more than that.
This has been amazing, by the way. I love what you're doing and how you're getting higher rents. I think more and more people should look at this model. Before we wrap up, I always like to end with a hyper-fast round if you're ready for some rapid-fire Q&A.
I'm ready. All right, let's do it.
All right. What's your biggest piece of advice to a new real estate investor?
You got to change the talk within first, mindset. So listen to the right people, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, maybe Bigger Pockets podcast, Dan. So you got to get the right people in your head and then make moves.
All right. What's a common mistake you see experienced investors make?
Oh shoot. Experienced investors thinking that things will be the same.
All right. What's the biggest challenge you've ever had in business, and how did you overcome it, or what did you learn from it?
Man, so people talk about separating business from personal. I'm only 30, but I just don't think that's possible. Business is personal, and personal life affects your business. And so the hardest thing for me has been to try to build a business while also building a family. They bleed into each other. You put too much time in business, it's going to affect your family. You put too much time in your family, it's going to affect your business. So finding that balance, I'm still working on it.
All right. When you're not working on your real estate business, what would we most likely find you doing?
Building sandcastles with my daughter.
Love it. Last question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
And 10 years from now, I want to have... 10 years from now, I want to be playing in the games of, it's going to sound weird, but maybe like, in my head, I'm thinking of like development in other countries. I want to be in that game. I want to be like, either building hotels, building infrastructure, building communities in other countries, having that opportunity to be, at the table either with partner investors or something like that. Like that's kind of where I see it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. If people want to connect with you, learn more about what you do, what are the best ways for them to do that?
Yeah, I think the easiest is just Instagram or TikTok. If you guys use TikTok, so right there at It's Fernando Corona, you can find me either on Instagram or TikTok, and then shoot me a DM, a follow, and we'll connect from there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Fernando. To all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in. Please leave us feedback and share this with other people that you think could benefit from listening or watching as well. We will see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure and go to hyperfastagent.com to learn about upcoming in-person and online events. And don't forget to share this show with someone that you think could benefit from hearing it, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube or anywhere that you can find podcasts.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you want 100 real estate tips from my best-selling book, click right here to download them instantly. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe.